The motorcycle exploded through the guardrail 40 feet above. Tyler watched the rider separate from the machine midair, a massive figure in leather arms flailing, falling like a broken angel toward the black water below. The splash swallowed him whole. No movement, no struggle, just silence. Tyler's legs were already moving before his brain caught up. 19 years old, homeless, invisible. The freezing river would kill him in minutes. The man was twice his size. Every rational thought screamed, stop. But Tyler was already stripping off his jacket, already running, already diving into the darkness that would change everything forever. Subscribe to our channel and follow Tyler's incredible journey to the very end. Comment your city below. Let us see how far this story travels. Tyler Walsh couldn't breathe. Morrison's boot pressed down on his throat. Not hard enough to kill, just hard enough to remind Tyler who owned him. You listening to me, rat? Tyler managed a nod. His vision was blurring at the edges. Good. Morrison lifted his boot. Because I'm only going to say this once. Tyler gasped, sucking in air, rolling onto his side in the mud. Rain hammered his face. His ribs screamed where Morrison had kicked them. 19 years old, blonde hair matted with filth, blue eyes that had stopped hoping for anything a long time ago. 3 months ago, Morrison said, crouching beside him, 4th Street, hit and run. You remember that night? Tyler's blood went cold. I don't know what you're... Morrison grabbed Tyler's hair and yanked his head back. Don't lie to me, boy. I know you were there. I know you saw my patrol car. His breath was hot and sour against Tyler's face. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to forget it every thing you saw, and if you don't... He pulled something from his pocket, a small plastic bag filled with white powder. I find this in your backpack tomorrow. Possession with intent to distribute. That's 15 years minimum. Morrison smiled. Or maybe you just disappear. Homeless kid drowns in the river. Tragic accident. Nobody investigates. Nobody cares. He released Tyler's hair. We understand each other. Yes, sir, Tyler whispered. I can't hear you. Yes, sir. Morrison stood brushing mud from his uniform. Good boy. Now get out of my district. I see your face again, you're dead. He walked away. His boots splashed through puddles. His patrol car door slammed. Red taillights vanished into the storm. Tyler lay in the mud shaking. Not from cold, from rage. 3 months ago, he'd seen everything. Morrison's patrol car at the scene. Morrison talking to the driver of the SUV that had hit a pedestrian. Morrison accepting an envelope thick with cash. Morrison waving the driver away while an old man bled out on the pavement. Tyler had watched from behind a dumpster, too terrified to move, too smart to speak. He'd been paying for that silence ever since. Slowly, painfully, Tyler pushed himself up. His ribs were definitely bruised, maybe cracked. His throat felt like someone had tried to crush it. His backpack was gone. No, there at the river's edge, half submerged in the current. Morrison must have kicked it while Tyler was down. Tyler stumbled toward it, legs unsteady. Everything he owned was in that bag, everything that mattered. And he reached into the freezing water and pulled the backpack out, unzipped it with numb fingers. His spare shirt, soaked, his water bottle, cracked, his mother's watch. Tyler's heart stopped. He dug through the bag frantically, threw out the wet clothes, turned the backpack inside out. The watch was gone. No. Tyler dropped to his knees, searching the mud, searching the water. The rain made it impossible to see. The current had already carried away anything light enough to float. His mother's watch. The only thing he had left of her. The only proof she'd ever existed. Gone. Tyler screamed. The sound tore out of him, raw and animal, echoing off the concrete pillars of the bridge. 3 years of grief. 3 years of survival. 3 years of telling himself he could handle anything as long as he had that watch. Gone. He knelt in the mud rain, hammering his back, and he cried, really cried, for the first time since they'd lowered his mother into the ground. I'm sorry, Mom, he sobbed. I'm sorry, I tried. I really tried, but I can't do this anymore. I can't. The sound cut through his grief like a blade. Not thunder, not traffic, a motorcycle engine, screaming, too high, too desperate, then metal shrieking against metal. Tyler looked up. 40 feet above, a black motorcycle punched through the bridge guardrail like it was paper. The rider, a massive figure in leather, separated from the bike mid-flight. Man and machine hung suspended for one impossible moment. Then they fell. The motorcycle hit first. The impact sent a column of water 20 feet into the air. The rider hit second. His body disappeared beneath the surface without a splash. Tyler was on his feet before he knew he'd moved. The current was vicious. The water was maybe 40 degrees. The rider was easily twice Tyler's size. Every rational thought screamed at him to run. But Tyler was already kicking off his boots, already stripping off his jacket, already running toward the river. He hit the water in a dive. Cold. That was the only word that existed. Cold like knives, cold like death, cold that drove every thought from Tyler's mind and replaced it with pure animal panic. His muscles seized, his lungs locked. For 3 seconds that lasted forever, he forgot how to swim. Then his mother's voice cut through the chaos. "You're stronger than you know, baby. You just have to believe it." Tyler forced his arms to move. The current grabbed him immediately, trying to drag him downstream, trying to roll him along the bottom like debris. Tyler fought it, kicking hard, pulling himself through the murky water toward where the motorcycle had gone down. Visibility was zero. The river was a churning mess of mud and rain and debris. Tyler dove deeper. His hands swept through the darkness, searching. Nothing. 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 Leather, an arm, a body. Tyler grabbed hold and pulled. The man didn't budge. Tyler's lungs were starting to burn. He had maybe 20 seconds before he'd have to surface or die. He traced his hands down the rider's body, trying to understand what was wrong. The man's leg was pinned, trapped beneath the sinking motorcycle's frame. Tyler planted his feet against the bike and pushed. Nothing happened. He pushed harder. Every muscle in his body screamed. His vision was going gray at the edges. "Move!" he screamed inside his head. "Move!" The motorcycle shifted. 1 inch. 2 inches. Not enough. Tyler's lungs were on fire. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his teeth. 10 seconds. He grabbed the motorcycle frame with both hands, bent his knees, and lifted with everything he had. Something in his back tore. Pain exploded through his spine. But the bike moved. 3 inches. 4. 5. The rider's leg came free. Tyler grabbed the man's collar and kicked for the surface. They broke through together. Tyler gasped, sucking in air, fighting to keep the rider's head above water. The man was unconscious, limp, dead weight, at least 280 pounds of dead weight. Tyler wrapped his arm around the man's chest and started swimming. The shore was 20 feet away, might as well have been 20 miles. His arms were failing, his legs were cramping. The cold had seeped so deep he couldn't feel his hands anymore. 15 feet. "Come on," Tyler gasped. "Come on, come on, come on." 10 feet. His knee hit something solid. The riverbed. He'd reached the shallows. Tyler dragged the rider onto the muddy bank, every muscle screaming, every joint threatening to give out. The man wasn't breathing. "No," Tyler collapsed beside him, hands shaking. "No, you don't get to die, not after that." He rolled the rider onto his back, tilted his head, cleared his airway, started compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His arms felt like rubber. His whole body was shaking from hypothermia. 28, 29, 30. 2 breaths, the man's chest rose and fell. Nothing. "Come on." 30 more compressions, 2 more breaths. Nothing. Tyler's vision was fading. The cold was winning. He could feel his heart slowing, his body giving up. "Don't you dare," he snarled. "Don't you dare shoot." 30 compressions, 2 breaths. The rider coughed. Water exploded from his mouth. He rolled onto his side, choking, retching alive. Tyler collapsed onto his back. The rain felt warm now. That was bad. That meant his body had stopped fighting the cold. "Hey." The rider's voice was weak, ragged. "Hey, kid. You okay?" Tyler couldn't answer, couldn't move, couldn't do anything but stare at the gray sky and wait for the darkness to take him. "Stay with me, kid." "Hey, hey." A massive hand gripped Tyler's shoulder. "What's your name? Tell me your name." "Tyler," he whispered. "Tyler Walsh." "Okay, Tyler, I'm Gunner, and you just saved my life." The grip tightened. "So you don't get to die. You hear me?" You don't get to die, Tyler wanted to answer, wanted to say something, but the darkness was already pulling him under. The last thing he heard was the thunder of motorcycle engines, lots of them, coming fast. Tyler woke up screaming, "Easy, easy, kid, you're safe." Hands pressed him back down, big hands, gentle despite their size. Tyler's eyes snapped open. His heart was racing. His whole body was drenched in sweat. He wasn't in the river. He was in a bed. A real bed with clean sheets and heavy blankets. The room was small but warm. A space heater glowed in the corner. Morning light filtered through a single window, and sitting beside the bed watching him with worried eyes was the man from the river, Gunner. In daylight, he was even more massive than Tyler remembered. 6'5" at least, built like a bear with brown hair streaked gray and a thick beard covering most of his face. His leather vest bore patches Tyler recognized from news reports, Hell's Angels MC. "Bad dream?" Gunner asked. Tyler nodded slowly, his heart still pounding. "Yeah." Gunner's expression darkened. "Doc said you might have those for a while." Trauma response. "Nearly drowning will do that." "How long was I out? 2 days?" 2 days, hypothermia." Gunner handed him a glass of water. "Your core temperature was 89 degrees when we got you here. Doc said another 10 minutes and your heart would have stopped." Tyler drank the water. His hands were shaking. "Where am I?" "Clubhouse. Hell's Angels Riverside chapter." Gunner paused. "You're safe here, Tyler." "Safer than you've probably ever been." Tyler's eyes went to the door, then the window. Calculating exits. Old habit. Gunner noticed. "You're not a prisoner. Door's not locked. You can leave whenever you want." He leaned back in his chair. "But I'm hoping you'll stay. At least long enough to let me say thank you." "Thank you, T. You saved my life, kid. Dove into 40-degree water, pulled me out from under my bike, did CPR until I started breathing again." Gunner shook his head slowly. "I've been in this club 20 years. Seen a lot of things. Never seen anything like that. I just did what anyone would do." "No," Gunner's voice was firm. "You didn't. Most people would have called 911 and watched from the shore. Most people would have told themselves it wasn't their problem." He leaned forward. "You dove in, without hesitation, without thinking about yourself." "Why?" Tyler thought about the question. "Because you were going to die," he said finally, "and I could try to stop it, that's all." Gunner stared at him for a long moment. "How old are you, Tyler?" 19. "Where do you live?" Tyler looked away. "Under the Coldwater Bridge, usually." "How long? 8 months?" "Family. My mother died 3 years ago. Never knew my father. Aged out of foster care 6 months before I turned 18. Anyone looking for you? Anyone who'd notice if you disappeared?" Tyler laughed bitterly. "No, nobody would notice. Nobody would care." Gunner's jaw tightened. "That changes today." The door opened. A man in his 50s walked in. Tall, lean, with gray hair pulled back in a ponytail, and eyes that had seen more than Tyler could imagine. His leather vest bore the same Hell's Angels patches as Gunner's, plus one more president. "He's awake," the man said. It wasn't a question. "Yeah, Viper." Gunner stood. "Tyler Walsh, 19 years old, homeless, no family. He's the one." Viper Marcus Cole, Tyler would learn later, studied him with an intensity that made Tyler want to shrink into the mattress. "You pulled Bear out of that river." "Yes, sir." "Why, excuse me? Why did you do it? What did you expect to get out of it?" Tyler blinked. "I didn't expect anything. I saw him fall. I saw him go under. I just reacted." "You just reacted." Viper's expression didn't change. The water was 40 degrees. The current was deadly. Bear weighs 280. You weigh, what, 140? Something like that. "And you just reacted?" "Yes, sir." Viper was silent for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. "Bear get doc, full medical workup, then food shower, clean clothes." He looked at Tyler. "You stay here until you're healed. That's not a request." "I can't. You saved my enforcer's life." Viper's voice cut through Tyler's objection like a knife. "In this club, that means something. You're under our protection now. Anyone touches you, they answer to every patch in this chapter." He paused. "We clear," Tyler nodded weakly. Viper turned to leave, then stopped at the door. One more question. That cop under the bridge, the one who was beating you. What's his name? Tyler's blood went cold. How do you know about that? We know a lot of things. Viper's eyes were hard. Name. Tyler hesitated. 3 months of fear. 3 months of silence. 3 months of Morrison's threats echoing in his head. But something in Viper's expression told him the truth was the only option. Morrison, Tyler said. Deputy Frank Morrison. Viper nodded once. Thank you, Tyler Walsh. Get some rest. We'll talk more soon. He left. Gunner sat back down, his expression unreadable. What just happened? Tyler asked. You just became the most protected person in Riverside County. Gunner's voice was quiet, and Deputy Morrison just made the biggest mistake of his life. 3 days later, Tyler was well enough to walk. Gunner gave him a tour of the clubhouse. It was bigger than Tyler expected. A main hall with a bar and pool tables. A kitchen that smelled like coffee and bacon. A meeting room with a long wooden table scarred by decades of use. A garage full of motorcycles that made Tyler's mechanical heart ache with longing. You like bikes? Gunner asked, watching Tyler's face. I used to. Tyler ran his fingers over a gleaming Harley. Before everything went wrong, my mom's boyfriend taught me about engines when I was 15, said I had talent. Yeah, what happened? Mom died, lost the apartment, lost my scholarship to the engineering program, lost in everything. Tyler's voice went flat. Story doesn't have a happy ending. Gunner was quiet for a moment. Come with me. He led Tyler to a workbench in the corner of the garage. A motorcycle sat there partially disassembled, old, neglected, waiting for someone to bring it back to life. Wrench was supposed to fix this last month, but he's been busy. Gunner crossed his arms. Think you can figure out what's wrong? Tyler studied the bike. His hands moved automatically, checking connections, testing components. Years of muscle memory taking over. Carburetor's shot, he said after a minute. Timing chain needs replacing. Fuel lines are clogged. He paused. But the engine block is solid. With the right parts, this could run like new. Gunner smiled, actually smiled. Wrench is gonna love you. See? Wrench was a lanky Texan in his 60s with oil-stained hands and a voice like gravel. He took one look at Tyler's diagnosis of the motorcycle and declared him less useless than most. High praise, Gunner said. From Wrench, that's practically a marriage proposal. Shut up, Bear. Wrench handed Tyler a socket wrench. Show me what you got, kid. Tyler worked. For the first time in months, maybe years, he lost himself in something that wasn't survival. His hands moved with purpose. His mind focused on problems he could actually solve. He replaced the carburetor, fixed the timing chain, cleaned the fuel lines, adjusted the valves, rebuilt the clutch assembly. 4 hours later, the motorcycle roared to life. Wrench stood back, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Then he grinned. Not bad, kid. Not bad at all. That night, there was a gathering in the main hall. Tyler sat in a corner trying to be invisible. Old habit, hard to break. Around him, club members drank and laughed and argued about things he didn't understand. He didn't belong here. He was a guest, a curiosity, the skinny homeless kid who'd somehow saved their enforcer. Stop hiding. Tyler looked up. A woman stood over him, 30s with dark hair and a snake tattoo winding up her arm. Her leather vest marked her as a full member, one of the few women in the chapter. I'm not hiding, Tyler said. Yeah, you are. She slid into the seat beside him. I'm Luna, and you're the river kid. Tyler. She studied him with sharp eyes. Bear says you saved his life. I just don't. Luna held up a hand. Whatever you're about to say, don't. I've heard I just did what anyone would do about 15 times today. It's getting old. Tyler shut his mouth. Here's the truth, Luna continued. Most people don't do what you did. Most people freeze. Most people watch. Most people tell themselves it's not their problem and go home to their warm beds feeling vaguely guilty. She paused. You dove into freezing water for a stranger. That's not normal. That's rare. That's special. I'm not special. Wrong. Luna's voice was firm. You are. And the sooner you accept that, the easier this is going to be. What do you mean? I mean you're part of this family now, whether you like it or not. She stood. Now stop sulking in the corner and come eat. Mama Rose made chili, and if you don't grab some fast snake, we'll eat your portion. Tyler followed her to the bar. He ate. He listened. He watched this strange family interact, these people the world called criminals. These people who had shown him more kindness in 3 days than he'd experienced in 3 years. Maybe Luna was right. Maybe he was special. Or maybe he was just lucky. Either way, for the first time since his mother died, Tyler Walsh felt like he might actually belong somewhere. A week after the rescue, everything changed again. Tyler was in the garage rebuilding a transmission when Gunnar found him. "We need to talk." Something in Gunnar's voice made Tyler set down his tools immediately. "What's wrong, Morrison?" Gunnar's expression was dark. "We've been looking into him, talking to people, digging." Tyler's stomach tightened. "And he's dirty, really dirty. Protection rackets, evidence tampering, at least 3 excessive force complaints that got buried." Gunnar paused. "In a hit and run 3 months ago, old man named Gerald Patterson died at the scene." Tyler felt sick. "I know," he whispered. "You know, I was there. I saw Morrison at the scene, saw him take money from the driver, saw him wave the guy away while Patterson bled out on the pavement." Tyler's hands were shaking. "Morrison knows I saw. That's why he's been targeting me. He told me if I talked, he'd plant drugs on me. Or worse." Gunnar was very still. "Tyler, look at me." Tyler looked up. "That man killed someone, covered it up, and he's been threatening you to keep you quiet." "Yes." "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" "Because," Tyler's voice cracked, "because I'm nobody, because I'm used to handling things alone, because no one's ever helped me before, because—" "Stop." Gunnar's massive hand landed on Tyler's shoulder. "You're not nobody, and you're not alone, not anymore. But I can't prove anything. It's my word against a kip-ups. Who's going to believe a homeless kid over a deputy?" Gunnar smiled grimly. "You'd be surprised." The garage door opened. Viper walked in, followed by Luna and 2 other club members Tyler didn't recognize. "Tyler Walsh," Viper said, "I need you to tell me everything. From the beginning. Don't leave anything out." Tyler looked at Gunnar. Gunnar nodded, so Tyler talked. He told them about the night 3 months ago, about hiding behind the dumpster, about watching Morrison take the bribe, about the old man bleeding out while Morrison laughed and counted his money. He told them about Morrison finding him under the bridge, the beatings, the threats, the bag of drugs Morrison carried to frame anyone who got in his way. He told them everything. When he finished, Viper was silent for a long moment. "Luna, get chains. Tell him we need everything he can find on Deputy Frank Morrison. Bank records, phone records, everything." Luna nodded and left. Viper turned to Tyler. "You are going to help us take him down. Are you ready for that?" Tyler thought about his mother, about the watch he'd lost, about all the nights he'd spent cold and hungry and afraid. He thought about Gerald Patterson bleeding out on the pavement while Morrison counted his blood money. "Yes," Tyler said, "I'm ready." Viper nodded once. "Then let's begin." The next 72 hours moved fast. Chains, the club's tech specialist, worked around the clock. He was a quiet man in his 40s with thick glasses and fingers that flew across keyboards like weapons. Tyler learned quickly not to ask how Chains got his information. Some questions were better left unasked. "Got something," Chains announced on the 3rd night. Tyler was in the main hall with Gunnar, Luna, and Viper. The room fell silent as Chains spread printed documents across the bar. "Morrison's been busy," Chains said. "Real busy. In the last 18 months, he's deposited over $40,000 in cash. Small amounts. Never more than $2,000 at a time. Classic structuring to avoid bank reporting requirements." "Where's it coming from?" Viper asked. "Multiple sources. But there's a pattern." Chains pointed to a highlighted section. "Every deposit corresponds to an incident report Morrison filed. Vagrancy arrests, trespassing charges, petty theft." He paused. "All against homeless individuals. All cases that got dropped or dismissed." Luna's expression darkened. "He's shaking them down." "Worse." Chains pulled out another document. 3 of these individuals are dead. Overdoses according to the official reports, but the timing is suspicious. Each one died within weeks of their case being dismissed. Tyler felt sick. He's killing them. Can't prove that, yet. Chains looked at Viper. But there's more. The hit and run Tyler witnessed, I found the driver. Name's Victor Holloway, real estate developer. Very connected, very wealthy. How connected? Gunnar asked. His brother-in-law is the district attorney. The room went silent. Tyler's hands started shaking. So Morrison is protected. The guy who killed Gerald Patterson is protected. And I'm the only witness. You were the only witness, Viper corrected. Now you're our witness. Big difference. They'll kill me. They'll try to. Gunnar's voice was calm, almost casual. They won't succeed. Tyler wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that this club, these strangers, could protect him from a corrupt cop with powerful friends. But he'd stopped believing in safety a long time ago. What's the plan? Luna asked. Viper was quiet for a moment, thinking. We need more, he said finally. Tyler's testimony is valuable, but it's not enough. A homeless kid against a decorated deputy, no jury in the world convicts on that alone. So we get more evidence, Gunnar said. Exactly. Viper looked at Chains. Morrison doesn't know we're watching him. That's our advantage. I want eyes on him 24/7. Document everything. Sooner or later, he'll make a mistake. And if he comes after Tyler before that? Luna asked. Viper's expression hardened. Then he learns what happens when you threaten a member of this family. Tyler looked up. I'm not a member. I'm just... You saved Bear's life. Viper cut him off. In this club that makes you family. End of discussion. The meeting broke up shortly after. Tyler headed back to his room, his mind spinning with everything he'd learned. Gunnar caught up with him in the hallway. Hey, you okay? No, Tyler laughed bitterly. I'm not okay. I'm a witness to a murder cover-up protected by a motorcycle club hiding from a corrupt cop who wants me dead. None of this is okay. Gunnar nodded slowly. Fair point. How do you do it? How do you stay calm? Practice, Gunnar leaned against the wall. And perspective. I've been in worse situations. So have most of the guys in this club. We survive because we stick together, watch each other's backs, trust the family. I don't know how to do that, Tyler admitted. Trust, I mean, everyone I've ever trusted has either died or abandoned me. I get it, Gunnar's voice softened. Your mom, foster care, the streets. You learned that counting on people only leads to pain. Tyler nodded, throat tight. But here's the thing, kid. That lesson was wrong. Not everyone leaves. Not everyone betrays you. Gunnar put his hand on Tyler's shoulder. I'm not going anywhere, neither is the club. You saved my life. That means something to me. It means everything. Tyler didn't know what to say. Get some sleep, Gunnar continued. Tomorrow Wrench wants you in the garage. Says you're the best assistant he's had in 20 years. He said you're less useless than most. For Wrench, that's basically a marriage proposal. Tyler managed a small smile. Thanks, Gunnar. Bear, Gunnar corrected. Call me Bear. Everyone does. Okay, Bear. Gunnar Bear grinned. Now get some rest. Long days ahead. He walked away, leaving Tyler alone in the hallway. Tyler stood there for a moment, processing everything. Family, trust, belonging, foreign concepts, dangerous concepts. But maybe, just maybe, worth believing in again. 2 weeks passed. Tyler fell into a rhythm. Mornings in the garage with Wrench learning everything the old mechanic could teach him. Afternoons studying for his GED, Luna had insisted, and Tyler had learned quickly that arguing with Luna was pointless. Evenings with the club, eating together, listening to stories, slowly becoming part of something bigger than himself. He still slept with one eye open, still flinched at loud noises, still calculated escape routes in every room, but the edges were softening. Just a little. You're getting good at this, Wrench said one afternoon watching Tyler rebuild a transmission. Had a good teacher. Damn right you did. Wrench handed him a coffee. Bear tells me you were going to be an engineer. Was. Tyler focused on the work. Before your mom died. Tyler's hands stilled. Bear talks too much. Bear cares about you. Wrench's voice was gentler than Tyler had ever heard it. We all do. That surprise you? Yeah, it does. Why? Tyler set down his tools. Because I'm nobody. I'm a homeless kid with nothing to offer. I don't understand why any of you care what happens to me. Wrench was quiet for a long moment. Let me tell you something, kid. Something most people don't know. He sat down on a workbench, suddenly looking every one of his 63 years. When I was your age, I was exactly where you are, homeless, alone, convinced I was worthless. Tyler stared at him. You, me, hard to believe looking at this handsome face I know. Wrench almost smiled. I was living under an overpass in Houston, stealing food, running from cops, waiting to die. What happened? The club found me, or I found them. Either way, they took me in, gave me a purpose, taught me that I wasn't worthless. I'd just been treated that way so long I believed it. Tyler felt something shift in his chest. You're not nobody, Tyler. You're not worthless. You're just a kid who got dealt a bad hand and survived it. That takes strength, real strength. I don't feel strong. You dove into a freezing river to save a stranger. You're standing up to a corrupt cop who wants you dead. You're rebuilding your life from nothing. Wrench stood up. That's strength, kid, whether you feel it or not. He walked away before Tyler could respond. Tyler sat there for a long time staring at the half-rebuilt transmission, thinking about strength and worthlessness and all the lies he'd believed about himself. Maybe Wrench was right. Maybe it was time to believe something different. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. Tyler was finishing lunch when Bear burst through the clubhouse door, his face pale. We've got a problem. Everyone moved at once. Chairs scraped back. Food was abandoned. The club gathered around Bear like soldiers awaiting orders. Morrison knows, Bear said, about Tyler, about us protecting him. Tyler's blood went cold. Help him, someone talked. One of the homeless guys Chains interviewed. Morrison got to him first. Bear looked at Viper. He's been asking questions, showing Tyler's picture around, telling people he's wanted for questioning in a drug investigation. That's a lie, Tyler said. Doesn't matter, he's setting you up, building a case, getting his ducks in a row before he makes a move. Viper's expression didn't change, but his eyes went cold. How long do we have? Days, maybe hours. Bear ran a hand through his hair. Morrison's ambitious, but he's not stupid. He won't move until he's sure he can make it stick. Then we move first. Viper turned to Chains. That evidence we've been gathering. How much do we have? Enough to raise questions. Not enough to guarantee a conviction. What would guarantee it? Chains hesitated. A confession or video evidence of Morrison committing a crime. Then we get one. Everyone stared at Viper. You want to set him up? Luna asked. I want to give him an opportunity to incriminate himself. There's a difference, Renaus. Bear shook his head. It's too risky. If Morrison suspects anything, he'll what kill Tyler. Viper's voice hardened. He's already planning to do that. We're just changing the timetable. There has to be another way, Tyler said. There isn't. Viper looked at him. Morrison's connected. His victim's brother-in-law is the DA. If we go to the authorities with what we have, it gets buried. Morrison walks. You disappear. So what do we do? Viper was silent for a moment. We give Morrison exactly what he wants. A chance to get to you. A chance to finish what he started. He paused. And when he takes it, we take him. Tyler's heart was pounding. You want to use me as bait? Yes. That's insane. That's justice, all right. Viper stepped closer. You don't have to do this, Tyler. Say the word and we find another way. A slower way. A way that might not work. Tyler looked around the room, at Bear, who'd become like a father to him, at Luna, who'd taught him to stand up for himself, at Wrench, who'd shown him he wasn't worthless, at Chains, who'd worked sleepless nights to build a case. These people had risked everything for him. A homeless kid with nothing to offer. I'll do it, Tyler said. Bear grabbed his arm. Tyler, think about this. I have. I've been thinking about it for 3 months. About Gerald Patterson dying on that street while Morrison counted his money. About all the other homeless people Morrison has hurt. About how many more he'll hurt if someone doesn't stop him. Tyler looked at Viper. Tell me the plan. The plan was simple. Dangerous but simple. Tyler would return to the Coldwater Bridge, alone, visible, vulnerable. Morrison would come, he wouldn't be able to resist. And when he did, the club would be watching. Recording, gathering the evidence they needed to take him down forever. You don't have to be alone, Bear insisted for the 15th time. I can be there, hidden, close enough to intervene if No. Tyler shook his head. Morrison knows you, knows your bike. If he sees any sign of the club, he'll bolt. Then we use someone he doesn't know. There's no one he doesn't know. He's been watching you for weeks. He knows every member. Bear's jaw tightened. I don't like this. Neither do I, but it's the only way. They were in the garage the night before the operation. Tyler was pretending to work on a motorcycle, but his hands weren't steady enough for precision work. Bear was pacing like a caged animal. If anything goes wrong. It won't. If anything goes wrong, Bear repeated. You run, you hear me. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to fight. You run and you don't stop until you reach the extraction point. I understand. Say it. If anything goes wrong, I run. Bear stopped pacing. He stood in front of Tyler, his massive frame blocking out the light. You're the bravest kid I've ever met. You know that, Tyler laughed weakly. I'm terrified. That's what makes it brave. Bear put his hands on Tyler's shoulders. 3 months ago, I was drowning in that river. Dead or as close to dead as makes no difference. And you, a skinny, homeless kid with nothing to gain and everything to lose, you dove in anyway. I couldn't let you die. Why not? You didn't know me, didn't owe me anything. Most people would have watched and felt sorry. Tyler thought about the question. Because my mom taught me that life is precious. Every life, even the lives of people who can't give you anything in return. He paused. And because if I'd let you die, I wouldn't have been able to live with myself. Bear's eyes were suspiciously bright. Your mom sounds like she was an incredible woman. She was. She really was. She'd be proud of you, Tyler. What you're doing tomorrow, standing up to Morrison, she'd be so damn proud. Tyler felt tears threatening. He blinked them back. I hope so. I know so. Bear pulled him into a rough hug. Now get some sleep. Big day tomorrow. He left. Tyler stood alone in the garage, surrounded by motorcycles and tools and the smell of oil and leather. Tomorrow, everything would change, one way or another. The morning came too fast. Tyler dressed in his old clothes, the ones he'd been wearing the night of the rescue. Wrench had washed them, but they still felt like a costume from another life, a life of hunger and fear and invisibility. He looked in the mirror, same face, same blue eyes, but something was different. He wasn't invisible anymore. Luna found him in the hallway. Here, she pressed something into his hand, a small knife in a leather sheath. Hide this, just in case. Luna, don't argue, just take it. Her expression softened. We'll be watching Tyler. Every second. You're not alone out there, even if it feels like it. I know. Do you... Because I remember what you said when you first got here, that no one would notice if you disappeared, that no one would care. She gripped his arm. That's not true anymore. We notice, we care. Every patch in this club would die for you. Tyler's throat tightened. Why? Because you're family. And family doesn't leave family behind. She hugged him quickly, then walked away before he could see the tears in her eyes. Tyler tucked the knife into his boot. Then he walked out of the clubhouse and into the morning light. The walk to Coldwater Bridge took 37 minutes. Tyler could have asked for a ride, could have delayed the inevitable a little longer. But he needed the time, needed to clear his head, needed to remember who he was and why he was doing this. The bridge looked different in daylight, smaller somehow, less terrifying, just concrete and steel and the endless rush of traffic overhead. Tyler found his old spot behind the support columns. His cardboard shelter was gone, washed away by rain, or stolen by someone who needed it more. The mud where Morrison had kicked him was dry now, baked hard by the winter sun. He sat down and waited. An hour passed, then 2. Tyler's nerves stretched thin. Every sound made him jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. Maybe Morrison wasn't coming. Maybe the plan had failed before it started. Maybe a car door slammed, footsteps on gravel. Tyler looked up. Deputy Frank Morrison stood at the edge of the bridge, support his hand on his holster, a cruel smile on his face. Well, 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 Morrison said. Look what crawled back. Tyler stood slowly. His heart was hammering so hard he could barely hear. Deputy Morrison, you know I've been looking for you, asking around. Imagine my surprise when I heard you'd been shacking up with the Hells Angels. Morrison stepped closer. Made some dangerous friends, didn't you, Rat? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, boy. Morrison's voice went cold. I know everything. I know they're protecting you. I know you've been talking about things you should have kept quiet about. Tyler said nothing. Here's what's going to happen. Morrison pulled a plastic bag from his pocket, the same bag of drugs he'd shown Tyler weeks ago. You're going to come with me. Quietly. We're going to take a little ride. And by the time anyone finds your body, the Hells Angels will be the prime suspects in the murder of a homeless drug addict. You're insane. I'm practical. Morrison smiled. You should have kept your mouth shut, Tyler. You should have stayed invisible. But you just couldn't help yourself, could you? He reached for Tyler's arm. Tyler stepped back. Don't touch me. Or what? Morrison laughed. You'll fight back. You'll call for help. There's no one here, boy. Just you and me and this lovely river where so many homeless people have tragically drowned. He lunged. Tyler dodged. Morrison's fist caught him on the shoulder, a glancing blow but enough to send him stumbling. Running won't help, Morrison shouted. There's nowhere to go. Tyler ran anyway, up the embankment, toward the street, toward the extraction point Bear had drilled into his head. Behind him, Morrison was cursing, scrambling to follow. Tyler's lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he kept moving. 100 yards, 50, 20. He burst onto the street just as 3 Hells Angels motorcycles roared around the corner. Bear, Luna, Wrench. Morrison skidded to a stop, his face draining of color. What the Frank Morrison? Viper's voice came from behind Tyler. He'd been waiting in a parked car, camera in hand. I just recorded everything. The drugs, the threats, the attempted assault. Morrison's hand went to his gun. I wouldn't, Bear said, his own weapon already drawn. You're fast, I'm faster. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Morrison's shoulders slumped. The fight went out of him all at once like air from a punctured tire. You don't know who you're dealing with, he said weakly. I have friends, powerful friends. So do we. Viper held up his phone. This video is already uploading to 4 different cloud accounts. It's also being sent to every news station in the state, every police oversight board, and the FBI field office in Los Angeles. Morrison's face went white. You can't. Already done. Viper smiled coldly. Your powerful friends can't help you now, deputy. By tomorrow morning, you'll be the most famous dirty cop in California. Sirens in the bands. Getting closer, Luna looked at Tyler. Time to go, kid. Tyler nodded, but he couldn't move. He stood there staring at Morrison, the man who'd beaten him, threatened him, tried to kill him. The man who'd terrorized homeless people for years. The man who'd covered up a murder for money. Gerald Patterson, Tyler said quietly. Morrison flinched. He had a wife, 2 sons, grandchildren. He was walking home from church when Victor Holloway hit him. And you let him die. Tyler's voice was steady. You watched him bleed out on the pavement, and you counted your blood money. You're done, Morrison. You're finished. And I want you to remember something while you're rotting in prison. Tyler stepped closer, looking up into the face of his tormentor. I'm not garbage. I'm not a rat. I'm not invisible. He turned and walked toward Bear's motorcycle. Behind him, the sirens grew louder. Tyler! Morrison screamed. Tyler, this isn't over. You hear me? This isn't... The police cars arrived. Morrison was still screaming as they put him in handcuffs. Tyler didn't look back. They rode back to the clubhouse in formation. Tyler held tight to Bear's back win in his face, heart pounding with adrenaline and relief and something that felt terrifyingly like joy. They'd done it. They'd actually done it. Morrison was finished. The evidence was out there, spreading across the internet, impossible to suppress. By morning, every news outlet in the country would have the story. A corrupt cop, a covered-up murder, a homeless kid who refused to stay silent. At the clubhouse, the celebration had already started. Cheers erupted as they pulled in. Brothers and sisters surrounded them, clapping Tyler on the back, shouting his name. You did it, kid. That was beautiful. Morrison's face when he saw the cameras priceless. Tyler let himself be swept up in the chaos, let himself smile, let himself for just a moment believe that everything was going to be okay. Bear found him an hour later sitting alone on the clubhouse steps staring at the stars. Hey, you okay? Yeah, Tyler took a breath. I think I actually am. Bear sat down beside him. You did good today, real good. I was terrified. I know. I was too. Bear nudged him with his shoulder. But you didn't run. You stood your ground. You looked that bastard in the eye and told him exactly who you are. Who am I? Bear was quiet for a moment. You're Tyler Walsh. You're brave. You're kind. You're stronger than you know. He paused. And your family, now and forever. Tyler felt tears threatening again. Bear, yeah. Thank you for everything, for saving me. Bear laughed softly. Kid, you saved me first. Remember, I pulled you out of a river. You gave me a life, even trade. Bear put his arm around Tyler's shoulders. Now come inside. Mama Rose made cake. And if we don't get there soon, Snake will eat it all. Tyler laughed. Together they walked back into the clubhouse, into the warmth, into the family, into the beginning of everything. The celebration lasted until 3 a.m. Tyler woke at noon the next day to the sound of his phone buzzing. Luna had given him a cheap prepaid thing. Nothing fancy, but Tyler had never owned a phone before. Every notification still felt like a small miracle. He grabbed it, squinting at the screen. 17 text messages, all from club members. Turn on the news. Channel 7, right now. Tyler, you're famous. Tyler stumbled out of bed and into the main hall. A crowd had already gathered around the TV mounted above the bar. Someone turned up the volume as Tyler pushed through. Explosive allegations against Riverside County Deputy Frank Morrison, who was arrested last night on charges including evidence tampering assault and conspiracy to commit murder. The arrest comes after video footage surfaced showing Morrison threatening a homeless teenager and allegedly attempting to frame him for drug possession. Tyler stared at the screen. His face was on national television. The video, which has already been viewed over 2 million times, shows Morrison producing what appears to be a bag of narcotics and threatening to plant them on the unidentified young man. Sources tell us the teenager is a key witness in an ongoing investigation into a hit-and-run death from 3 months ago. Bear appeared beside Tyler, coffee in hand. You okay, kid? That's me, on TV. Everyone's going to see my face. Yeah. Bear's expression was unreadable. That going to be a problem. Tyler thought about it. 3 months ago, visibility had been his greatest enemy. Being seen meant being targeted. Being noticed meant being hurt. But now, no, Tyler said slowly. I don't think it is. The news anchor continued. Perhaps most shocking are the allegations that Morrison accepted bribes to cover up the hit-and-run death of 67-year-old Gerald Patterson. The driver of the vehicle that struck Patterson has been identified as Victor Holloway, a prominent real estate developer. Holloway was taken into custody early this morning. Luna whistled. They got Holloway, that was fast. Viper sent the evidence to 5 different agencies simultaneously, Chain said from across the room. FBI, State Police, Internal Affairs, 2 different news stations. Nobody could bury it even if they wanted to. Tyler felt something loosen in his chest, something he'd been carrying for 3 months. Gerald Patterson was going to get justice. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Tyler hesitated, then answered. Hello, is this Tyler Walsh? A woman's voice, older, trembling slightly. Who's asking? My name is Margaret Patterson. Gerald was my husband. A pause. I saw the news. I know what you did, what you risked. Tyler's throat tightened. Mrs. Patterson, I'm so sorry. I should have come forward sooner. I was scared and I don't. Her voice cracked. Don't apologize. You were homeless, alone, a child going up against a corrupt police officer. You had every reason to stay silent. But your husband, my husband is dead. Margaret's voice steadied. Nothing changes that. But because of you, the men who killed him are going to prison. Because of you, no other family has to suffer what we suffered. She took a shaky breath. Thank you, Tyler. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you. She hung up before Tyler could respond. He stood there, phone pressed to his ear, tears running down his face. Bear's hand landed on his shoulder. That was Patterson's wife. Tyler nodded, not trusting his voice. Come on. Bear steered him toward the door. You need some air. They walked outside into the bright afternoon sun. Tyler wiped his face with his sleeve, embarrassed by the tears. Sorry, I don't know why I'm... Because you're human. Bear leaned against his motorcycle. Because you just spoke to a woman whose husband died in front of you. Because you've been carrying guilt for 3 months and someone finally told you it's okay to let it go. I should have done more. You did everything you could. You were a homeless kid with nothing. No resources, no power, no one to turn to. Bear's voice hardened. Morrison had a badge, had connections, had the whole system backing him up, and you still took him down. Tyler took a shaky breath. What happens now? Now we wait. Morrison's lawyers will try to get him bail. Holloway's people will try to make this go away. There's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of pressure. And if they succeed, Bear smiled grimly. They won't. The video's everywhere. Chains made sure of that. You can't unring that bell. Tyler wanted to believe him, wanted to believe that the system would actually work for once, but he'd seen too much to trust easily. Tyler, Luna's voice came from the clubhouse door. You need to come inside now. Something in her tone made Tyler's blood run cold. He and Bear hurried back inside. The TV was still on, but the news had changed. A different anchor now, a different story. Breaking news out of Riverside County, where Deputy Frank Morrison has been released on bail. Sources tell us Morrison posted a $200,000 bond just hours after his arrest. Even more concerning, prosecutors have announced they are dropping the assault charges against Morrison, citing insufficient evidence. Tyler felt like he'd been punched in the gut. What? How is that possible? Viper was already on the phone, his face dark with fury. He hung up and turned to the room. Holloway's brother-in-law, the DA. He pulled strings, got the assault charges dropped, and convinced the judge to set low bail. The video, Tyler started. They're claiming it was edited, taken out of context. Morrison's lawyer is already on TV saying his client was conducting a legitimate investigation and the bikers attacked him. That's insane. Everyone saw what happened. Doesn't matter. Viper's voice was flat. Money talks, power talks. And right now, Morrison and Holloway have both. Bear stepped forward. So what do? We keep Tyler safe. Morrison's going to be looking for revenge. He's lost his career, his reputation, everything. He's got nothing left to lose. And the case, the hit-and-run charges are still pending. Federal investigators are involved now. They don't answer to the local DA. But it's going to take time. Viper looked at Tyler. Weeks, maybe months. And until Morrison is behind bars for good, you're in danger. Tyler's hands were shaking, so he just walks after everything. For now. Viper's eyes were hard, but not forever. I promise you that. The room fell silent. Tyler stood there trying to process what he'd just heard. 24 hours ago, he'd faced down Morrison, watched him get arrested, believed for one shining moment that justice was actually possible. Now Morrison was free, and Tyler was right back where he started, except worse. Because now Morrison knew exactly where to find him. Oh yeah? 3 days passed in a blur of anxiety and waiting. Tyler stayed inside the clubhouse. No trips to town, no walks, no exposure. Bear had assigned 2 members to watch him at all times, not that Tyler minded. The alternative was facing Morrison alone. On the 4th day, the first threat came. Chains intercepted it, an email sent to the club's public address from an anonymous account. The rat dies soon. Nothing you can do to stop it. Viper read it aloud at the emergency meeting. Morrison, Bear asked. Probably. Could be Holloway's people too. Either way, they're making their intentions clear. So we hit them first, Snake said. He was a big man with a shaved head and tattoos covering both arms. We know where Morrison lives. We know. No, Viper's voice cut through the room. We're not giving them ammunition. Right now, we're the good guys in this story. The bikers who exposed a dirty cop. The moment we cross that line, we become the villains. And if they kill Tyler while we're playing nice, they won't. Viper looked around the room. We double security. No one moves alone. We reach out to our contacts in law enforcement, the honest ones, and make sure they know what's happening. That's not enough, Bear said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. I know how men like Morrison think. He's lost everything. His career, his reputation, his future. He's not looking for a way out. He's looking for revenge. And he won't stop until he gets it. What are you suggesting? Bear was silent for a moment. I'm suggesting we give him a target he can't resist. Me. Bear. Morrison doesn't care about the club, doesn't care about Viper or Luna or anyone else. He cares about Tyler and me, the kid who witnessed his crime and the biker who made him famous. Tyler felt his stomach drop. No, absolutely not. Think about it. Bear stood up, pacing. Morrison's desperate. He's going to make a move eventually. We can either wait for him to pick the time and place, or we can control the situation. By putting yourself in danger, by giving him an opportunity he can't pass up. Bear looked at Viper. I go out, alone, visible, make myself a target. When Morrison comes for me, we take him down. The room erupted. That's suicide. You're crazy. Morrison's not going to fall for enough. Viper's voice silenced everyone. He stared at Bear for a long moment. You're serious. Dead serious. And if Morrison brings backup, if he decides to put a bullet in you from 100 yards away, then you make sure Tyler's safe. That's all that matters. Tyler couldn't breathe. Bear, stop. I won't let you do this. You don't get a vote, kid. The hell I don't. Tyler stood up, fists clenched. You saved my life. You gave me a home, a family, and now you want to throw all that away. I want to end this permanently by dying, by fighting. Bear's expression softened. Tyler, listen to me. Morrison isn't going to stop. The threat's the danger. It's only going to get worse. And every day we wait is another day you have to live in fear. I'd rather live in fear than lose you. The words hung in the air. Bear stared at Tyler. Something shifted in his expression, surprise maybe, or recognition. Kid, you're the closest thing to a father I've ever had. Tyler's voice cracked. You can't just sacrifice yourself. That's not how this works. That's not what family does. Silence. Luna wiped her eyes. Even Snake looked uncomfortable. Viper spoke first. He's right, Bear. We find another way. There is no other way. There's always another way. Viper stepped forward. Morrison wants revenge, fine. Let him come. But we face him together, all of us, as a family. Bear looked around the room at the brothers and sisters who'd stood beside him for 20 years. At Tyler, who'd saved his life and given him something worth protecting. Okay, he said finally. Together. Tyler let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding, but somewhere in his gut, he knew it wasn't over. Morrison was still out there, and sooner or later he would come. The attack happened on a Wednesday. Not against Tyler, not against Bear, against the clubhouse itself, 3 a.m, everyone asleep. The roar of an engine was the only warning. Tyler woke to the sound of breaking glass and Bear's voice shouting his name. Tyler, get down! He rolled off the bed just as the window exploded inward. A bottle trailing fire. Molotov cocktail. The curtains ignited instantly. Tyler hit the floor, choking on smoke crawling toward the door. Heat pressed against his back. The fire was spreading fast. Bear! The door burst open. Bear grabbed Tyler by the collar and dragged him into the hallway. Move, everyone, move! Chaos everywhere, brothers stumbling out of rooms, coughing, shouting. Luna with a fire extinguisher spraying the flames. Wrench helping Mama Rose toward the exit. They made it outside just as the second Molotov hit. This one struck the garage. The explosion lit up the night. Tyler watched in horror as 20 years of motorcycles and memories went up in flames. Everyone accounted for. Viper's voice cut through the chaos. Counting now, Luna shouted back. Tyler stood in the parking lot shaking, watching the clubhouse burn. Bear's arm was around his shoulders, holding him steady. This is my fault, Tyler whispered. No. Morrison did this because of me. Morrison did this because he's a monster. Bear's voice was fierce. None of this is your fault. You hear me? None of it. Sirens in the distance. Someone had called 911. Tyler stared at the flames, tears streaming down his face. Everything the club had built, everything they'd shared, gone. Because of him. I have to end this, Tyler said quietly. Bear's grip tightened. Don't even think about it. He won't stop. You know he won't. He'll keep coming, keep hurting people, until he gets what he wants. And what does he want? And Tyler looked up at Bear. Me.
Bitter.
The fire department arrived 15 minutes later, too late to save the clubhouse, too late to save the garage. But everyone was alive. That was something. The club regrouped in the parking lot of a motel 2 miles away. Viper had called in favors rooms for everyone, no questions asked. The manager was an old friend, someone who owed the club from way back. Tyler sat on the curb outside staring at nothing. Luna found him there. You should be inside, getting some sleep. Can't sleep. She sat down beside him. Neither can I. They were quiet for a moment. He burned everything, Tyler said. 20 years of history. Because of me. Because of Morrison. Stop blaming yourself. How can I not? If I'd never come here. Then Bear would be dead. Luna's voice was sharp. You saved his life, Tyler. That's why you're here. Everything else, Morrison, the fire, all of it, that's on him. Not you. Doesn't feel that way. Feelings lie. Luna put her hand on his shoulder. The truth is, you're the bravest person I've ever met. A homeless kid who dove into freezing water to save a stranger. Who stood up to a corrupt cop with nothing but his word. Who gave this club a reason to remember why we exist. Tyler looked at her. Why do you exist? To protect people. People who can't protect themselves. People the system has failed. Luna smiled sadly. We lost our way for a while. Got too focused on business, on territory, on all the wrong things. Then you showed up. Reminded us what we're supposed to be. I didn't do anything. You did everything. Luna stood up. Now come inside. Viper's calling a meeting. We need to figure out our next move. Tyler followed her inside. The motel conference room was packed. Every member of the club crammed into a space meant for 20. The air was thick with tension and barely contained rage. Viper stood at the front, his expression carved from stone. Morrison crossed a line tonight. He tried to kill us in our sleep, burned our home to the ground. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard every word. This will not stand. What's the play? Snake asked. We go on offense. Morrison thinks he's untouchable because of his connections. We're about to prove him wrong. How do? Viper looked at Chains. Tell them. Chains stepped forward, laptop in hand. I've been digging into Morrison's finances. The 40 grand we found before, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Morrison's been running a protection racket for years, shaking down drug dealers, taking bribes from anyone with money. We knew that, Bear said. Yeah, but here's what we didn't know. Chains turned the laptop around. Morrison has a partner, someone inside the department who's been covering his tracks. The room went silent. Who? Luna asked. Captain William Rhodes, Morrison's direct supervisor. Chains pulled up another document. Rhodes has been taking a cut of everything Morrison brings in. In exchange, he buries complaints, destroys evidence, makes problems disappear. Tyler felt sick. So even if Morrison goes down, Rhodes protects him. Exactly, that's why the assault charges got dropped. Rhodes made a call. So we take down Rhodes too, Snake said. Easier said than done. Rhodes is smart, careful. He doesn't leave paper trails. Chains paused. But he has one weakness. What? His daughter, Emily Rhodes. She's 23, works as a paralegal downtown. Chains looked uncomfortable. 6 months ago, she filed a complaint against her father. Domestic violence. Rhodes made it go away, but the original report still exists. We're not using his daughter, Viper said firmly. That's a line we don't cross. I'm not suggesting we hurt her. I'm suggesting we talk to her. Chains met Viper's eyes. Emily hates her father. She's been trying to escape him for years. If anyone knows where Rhodes' secrets are buried, it's her. The room was quiet. Tyler spoke up. I'll do it. Everyone turned to look at him. I'll talk to her. She doesn't know me. I'm not threatening, just a kid asking questions. It's too dangerous, Bear said immediately. Everything's dangerous now. Morrison already tried to kill me. What's one more risk? Viper studied Tyler for a long moment. You're sure about this? I'm sure. Then we do it tomorrow. Viper looked around the room. Everyone gets some rest. We've got a long fight ahead. The meeting broke up. Bear caught Tyler's arm on the way out. You don't have to do this. There are other ways. There aren't. You know there aren't. Tyler met his eyes. Morrison and Rhodes, they're never going to stop. Not until they're both behind bars. And if talking to Emily Rhodes is what it takes to make that happen, then that's what I'm going to do. Bear's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Okay, but I'm going with you. Bear, non-negotiable. You're not doing this alone. Tyler almost smiled. Okay, together. Together, they walked out of the conference room into the uncertain night. Tomorrow, everything would change. Again. Emily Rhodes agreed to meet at a coffee shop downtown. Tyler walked in alone. Bear waited outside, watching through the window, ready to move if anything went wrong. Luna was parked across the street. Wrench circled the block on his bike. The woman at the corner table matched Chain's description. Mid-20s, brown hair pulled back, professional clothes that couldn't quite hide the tension in her shoulders. Tyler approached slowly. Emily. She looked up. Her eyes were red-rimmed like she'd been crying, or hadn't slept. Maybe both. You're Tyler Walsh. You know who I am? Everyone knows who you are, the homeless kid who took down Frank Morrison. Emily's voice was bitter. Sit down before someone sees us. Tyler sat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Why did you agree to meet me? Tyler asked finally. Because I hate my father. Emily's hands wrapped around her coffee cup. Because he's a monster. Because I've been waiting my whole life for someone to stop him, and no one ever has. We're trying. I know. I saw the video, Morrison getting arrested. Rhodes made a few calls, and suddenly Morrison's out on bail. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's how it always works. My father makes problems disappear, even when the problem is himself. Tyler leaned forward. We need evidence. Something concrete. Something Rhodes can't make disappear. And you think I have that? I think you know things about your father, about what he's done. Emily was quiet for a long moment. You have no idea, she whispered. The things I've seen, the things I've heard. Her voice cracked. When I was 16, I found files in his office. Reports, complaints, all the people he'd hurt, all the crimes he'd covered up. I made copies. Tyler's heart stopped. You have copies. Had. He found them, destroyed them, beat me so badly I couldn't go to school for a week. Emily's jaw tightened. That was the first time I tried to report him. One of his cop friends took the call, made it go away. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, be angry. Emily met his eyes. That's what I've learned. Sorry doesn't change anything. Anger does. So help us. Tell us where to look, what to find. Emily hesitated. There's a storage unit outside town. My father uses it to keep things he doesn't want found. She pulled a piece of paper from her purse, slid it across the table. Address is here. The code is my mother's birthday. She died when I was 7. He's sentimental like that. Tyler took the paper. Why are you doing this? Because I want to sleep at night. Because I want to look in the mirror without feeling sick. Emily stood up. And because my father killed someone when I was 12, a witness in a case that was going to expose him. I saw it happen. I've never told anyone. Tyler felt the blood drain from his face. Emily, get him. Her voice was fierce. Get both of them. Make them pay for everything they have done. She picked up her bag. And Tyler, be careful. My father is more dangerous than Morrison ever was. She walked out without looking back. Tyler sat there for a moment staring at the paper in his hands. Then he went outside to find Bear. The storage unit was exactly where Emily said it would be. They went at midnight. Tyler, Bear, Luna, and Snake. Chain stayed behind monitoring police frequencies, ready to warn them if anything went wrong. The facility was old, run down, the kind of place where people stored things they wanted to forget. Unit 47, Emily's mother's birthday. 0417. The lock clicked open. Bear pulled up the door. Inside was a treasure trove of corruption. Boxes, tins of them. Files, photos, recordings. Evidence of crimes spanning decades. Holy so, Luna breathed. Tyler grabbed the nearest box, started flipping through files. His hands were shaking. This is everything. Morrison's shakedowns, Rhodes's cover-ups, payoffs, bribes, evidence, tampering. He pulled out a photograph. This is Gerald Patterson, before the hit and run. There's a file here about planning his death. Planning what? Bear's voice was sharp. It wasn't an accident. Patterson was investigating Morrison, getting close to the truth. So Morrison and Rhodes had Holloway run him down. Tyler felt sick. They murdered him, and they've been covering it up ever since. We need to get this out of here, Luna said. Now. They worked fast, loading boxes into the van they'd borrowed. Every minute felt like an hour. Every sound made them jump. They were almost done when Chains's voice crackled through the radio. Cops incoming? 3 units, ETA 2 minutes. Someone tipped them off, Bear growled. Doesn't matter. Move. Luna grabbed the last box. They piled into the van, snake-floored at tires squealing on asphalt. Behind them, sirens, getting closer. They're going to catch us, Tyler said. No, they're not. Snake grinned. Hold on to something. He took a hard right, then a left, then another right. The van screamed through side streets, alleys, parking lots. The sirens faded, disappeared. 10 minutes later, they pulled into a warehouse on the edge of town. Club property. Hidden. Safe. Tyler let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. That was close, Luna said. Too close. Bear was already unloading boxes. Rhodes knows we're onto him. He's going to come hard. Let him come. Tyler lifted a box. We have everything we need to destroy him. The next 48 hours were a blur. Chains worked around the clock, digitizing documents, creating redundant backups. Luna coordinated with their contacts in the media. Bear reached out to the FBI agents who'd been investigating Morrison. Tyler helped where he could, organizing files, flagging important documents, trying to make sense of 20 years of corruption. On the 3rd day they were ready, Viper called a meeting. We're about to burn down the entire Riverside County Sheriff's Department, he said. Everyone understand what that means. Heads nodded around the room. Rhodes has friends, powerful friends. Some of them are going to survive this. Some of them are going to want revenge. Viper paused. Anyone who wants out, now's the time. No judgment, no shame. Nobody moved. All right then. Viper looked at Chains. Do it. Chains hit a key on his laptop. Done. Everything just went to the FBI, the state attorney general, 4 major news networks, and every honest cop I could find in a 100-mile radius. Tyler felt something release in his chest. Relief, vindication, justice. It's over, he asked. It's starting, Bear corrected. The hard part comes next. The news broke like a bomb. Every channel, every website, every newspaper. The story was everywhere. Massive corruption scandal rocks Riverside County. Captain William Rhodes arrested at his home this morning. Deputy Frank Morrison taken into custody for the 2nd time. Real estate developer Victor Holloway facing murder charges in the death of Gerald Patterson. Tyler watched the coverage from the motel surrounded by his family. They're calling it the biggest law enforcement scandal in California history, Luna said, reading from her phone. Over 40 officers implicated. The entire department is being investigated. Good. Tyler's voice was flat. They deserve it. Bear put a hand on his shoulder. You okay, kid? I don't know. Tyler took a shaky breath. I've been waiting for this for so long, dreaming about it, and now it's happening and I just feel empty. Yeah, empty. Bear nodded slowly. That's normal. Revenge doesn't fill the hole. It just stops it from getting bigger. So what fills it? Bear was quiet for a moment. Purpose, family, building something instead of tearing something down. He squeezed Tyler's shoulder. The bad guys are going to prison. That's done. The question is, what do you want to do next? Tyler thought about it. I want to help people. People like me. Kids who aged out of foster care. Homeless people who have nobody looking out for them. Yeah. When I was on the streets, I used to dream about someone caring, someone noticing I existed. Nobody ever did. Tyler looked at Bear. I want to be that person for other people. Bear smiled. It was the warmest expression Tyler had ever seen on his face. I think we can make that happen. The trials took 6 months. Tyler testified 3 times. Once for Morrison, once for Rhodes, once for Holloway. Each time he told the truth. The whole truth about the hit and run, about Morrison's abuse, about everything he'd witnessed and everything he'd survived. The defense lawyers tried to break him, called him a liar, a criminal, a desperate homeless kid who'd say anything for attention. Tyler didn't flinch. "I was invisible," he said during the Holloway trial. "Nobody saw me. Nobody cared about me. That's why Morrison thought he could get away with it, because I was nobody." "And now?" the prosecutor asked. Tyler looked at the courtroom, at Bear sitting in the front row, at Luna and Wrench and Snake, and all the other members of the club who'd come to support him. "Now I have a family," Tyler said. "Now I matter." Morrison got 18 years, no possibility of parole. Rhodes got 25. He cried when the verdict was read. Holloway got life. His brother-in-law, the DA, was disbarred and charged as an accessory. After the final verdict, Tyler walked out of the courthouse into the California sunshine. Bear was waiting for him. "How do you feel?" "Like it's actually over." Tyler took a deep breath. "Like I can finally start living instead of just surviving." Bear pulled him into a hug, a real one, the kind Tyler hadn't experienced since his mother died. "I'm proud of you, kid, so damn proud." "Thanks, Bear." "Gunner." Tyler pulled back confused. "What?" "My real name, Gunner Thompson. Only people I love get to use it." Bear's eyes were suspiciously bright. "What will I do?" "Gunner." Tyler felt tears threatening. "Okay, Gunner." They stood there for a moment, father and son, in everything but blood. "What now?" Tyler asked. "Now we go home." Gunner started walking toward his motorcycle, or what's left of it anyway. Tyler followed. "We're rebuilding the clubhouse. Already started, should be done in a few months." Gunner grinned. "Viper's adding a whole new wing, training center, meeting rooms, space for the youth program you have been talking about." Youth program, the Coldwater Project. Gunner handed Tyler a helmet. "Your idea, your project. Club's going to fund it." Tyler stared at him. "You're serious?" "Dead serious. We talked about it while you were busy being a star witness." Everyone agreed. Gunner climbed onto the bike. "You wanted to help people like you. Now you can." Tyler put on the helmet, climbed on behind Gunner. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll work hard. Say you'll make a difference. Say you won't forget where you came from." "I won't, I promise." Gunner started the engine. "Good. Now hold on. Luna's throwing a party back at the motel, something about you being a hero." "I'm not a hero." "Kid." Gunner looked back at him. "You dove into freezing water to save a stranger. You stood up to corrupt cops who wanted you dead. You testified in court when everyone told you to run. That doesn't make me a hero." "Then what does—" Tyler thought about it. "Doing it again," he said finally. "Helping the next person, and the next, and the one after that." Gunner smiled. "Now you're getting it." They rode off together. The party lasted until 3 a.m. Tyler had never felt so celebrated, so seen, so loved. Brothers and sisters he'd known for only a few months treated him like family, because he was family. Had been from the moment he'd pulled Gunner out of that river. Around midnight, Tyler slipped outside for some air. Luna found him on the motel steps staring at the stars. Needed a break. "Yeah, it's a lot. Good, but a lot." Luna sat down beside him. "I remember my first club party. Thought I was going to die of social anxiety." "You anxious?" "Hard to believe I know." Luna smiled. "But yeah, I was terrified. Kept thinking they'd figure out I didn't belong, that I was faking it. What changed at time, and realizing that everyone else felt the same way." Luna bumped his shoulder with hers. "You belong here, Tyler. You've more than earned your place." "It still doesn't feel real sometimes. Like I'm going to wake up under that bridge and find out this was all a dream." "It's not a dream. It's your life." Luna stood up. "Which reminds me, Viper wants to talk to you, something about making things official." "Official? Just go find him. He's in the back room." Tyler went. Viper was waiting for him alone, a box on the table in front of him. "Close the door." Tyler closed it. "Sit." Tyler sat. Viper studied him for a long moment. "When you first came here, you were a ghost, a scared, angry, broken kid who didn't trust anyone or anything." "That's fair. Now look at you, standing tall, speaking truth to power, building something that matters." Viper's expression softened. You've grown more in 6 months than most people grow in a lifetime. I had help. You had opportunity. You did the work. Viper pushed the box across the table. Open it. Tyler lifted the lid. Inside was a leather vest, black, well-worn. On the back, the Hells Angels patch. On the front, a smaller patch prospect. You're offering me a place in the club. I'm recognizing that you already have one. Viper's voice was serious. This isn't charity, Tyler. This isn't gratitude. This is acknowledgement of who you've become and what you've done. Tyler lifted the vest with trembling hands. I don't know if I deserve this. Nobody deserves anything. We earn it, day by day, choice by choice. Viper stood. You've earned it, Tyler Walsh. Now put on the vest and come back to the party. Tyler put on the vest. It fit like it had been made for him. They rebuilt the clubhouse over the next 4 months. Tyler worked construction alongside the other members, learning new skills, building something with his hands, transforming ashes into home. The Coldwater Project took shape in parallel, a youth outreach program for homeless kids and foster care graduates. Tyler led it with help from Luna, who turned out to have a background in social work nobody had known about. You're good at this, Luna told him one afternoon, watching him talk to a 16-year-old runaway. I just remember what it was like, being invisible, having no one. That's what makes you good at it. You're not pretending to understand. You actually do. The kid's name was Marcus, 15 years old, sleeping in a park since his foster family kicked him out. Tyler took him to dinner, listened to his story, didn't judge, didn't lecture, just listen. What happens to me now? Marcus asked, voice small. That depends on you. What do you want? I don't know. I've never been asked that before. Then let's figure it out together. They found Marcus a spot in a group home, a good one with people Tyler knew and trusted. Marcus started going to school again, started believing in himself again. He was the first kid the Coldwater Project helped. He wasn't the last. 6 months after the trials ended, Tyler stood in front of the rebuilt clubhouse. It was bigger than before, better, a phoenix risen from ashes. Gunnar stood beside him. What do you think? I think it's beautiful. Tyler's voice caught. I think it's home. It is home. Gunnar put his arm around Tyler's shoulders. You're home, for as long as you want it. Forever, forever. They stood in comfortable silence watching the sun set behind the building. Bear Gunnar, can I ask you something? Anything. That night, when you crashed, when you went into the river. Tyler hesitated. What were you thinking? Did you think you were going to die? Gunnar was quiet for a long moment. I thought about my life, all the things I'd done, good and bad. I thought about the club, the brothers I'd ride with. He paused. And I thought about how alone I was, how I'd never had a son, never had anyone who was really mine. And now, Gunnar looked at him. Really looked. Now I have you. Tyler's throat tightened. I never thanked you for everything, for saving me. You saved me first. I pulled you out of a river. You gave me a life. Even trade. Gunnar squeezed his shoulder. Best trade I ever made. They watched the last light fade from the sky. Gunnar bound. Yeah, I've been thinking about my mom, about what she would have wanted for me. And she would have wanted me to be happy, to be loved, to have a family. Tyler took a shaky breath. I think she would have liked you. Gunnar's voice was rough. I think I would have liked her too. She used to say that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who fights for you when everything falls apart. Smart woman. The smartest. Tyler turned to face Gunnar. You showed up. You stayed. You fought for me when I had nothing. His voice cracked. You're my family now. You and Luna and Wrench and everyone. You're all I have. That's not true. Gunnar's hand landed on Tyler's shoulder, heavy and warm. You have yourself. You have your strength, your courage, your heart. He paused. We're just lucky enough to be part of your story. Tyler wiped his eyes. I love you, Gunnar. I never thought I'd be able to say that to anyone again. But I love you. Gunnar pulled him into a hug. Tight, fierce, the kind of hug Tyler had been waiting for his whole life. I love you too, kid, more than you'll ever know. They held each other as darkness fell. father and son, family, home. 1 year, 365 days since Tyler Walsh dove into the Coldwater River and pulled a drowning stranger from death's grip. He stood at the bridge now, looking down at the water that had nearly killed them both. The current was calm today. Peaceful. Nothing like the churning nightmare he remembered. Gunnar stood beside him. Silent. Patient. Understanding. Hard to believe it's been a year, Tyler said finally. Time moves different when you're actually living instead of just surviving. Yeah, Tyler gripped the railing. I used to come here at night. Before everything, I'd stand right here and think about jumping. Gunnar's body went still. You never told me that. I never told anyone. Tyler's voice was steady. No shame, no hiding. I was so tired, Gunnar. Tired of being caught. Tired of being hungry. Tired of being invisible. Some nights the river seemed like the only way out. What stopped you? My mom, her voice in my head telling me to hold on one more day, just one more day. Tyler laughed softly. I told myself that every night for 8 months. One more day, and then you fell from the sky. Gunnar didn't speak. Couldn't speak. You didn't just give me a family, Tyler continued. You gave me a reason to stop counting days and start living them. Kid, let me finish. Tyler turned to face him. I spent 19 years thinking I was worthless, that I was garbage like Morrison said, that the world would be better off without me. That was never true. I know that now, because of you, because of the club, because someone finally showed me that I matter. Tyler's eyes were bright with unshed tears. So thank you for falling off that bridge, for letting me save you, for saving me right back. Gunnar pulled him into a fierce embrace. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Tyler Walsh. Don't you ever forget that. I won't. Tyler's voice was muffled against Gunnar's chest. I promise. They held each other for a long moment. Then Gunnar stepped back, clearing his throat. All right, enough emotional stuff. We've got a party to get to. Tyler laughed. The anniversary thing, Luna's been planning it for weeks. She's been planning it for months. The woman is terrifying when she's organized. Gunnar climbed onto his motorcycle. Hop on, we're already late. Tyler climbed on behind him, wrapping his arms around Gunnar's waist. They rode away from the bridge, away from the past, toward home. The clubhouse was transformed. Banners everywhere, tables covered with food, a massive cake shaped like a motorcycle that Mama Rose had somehow created. And people, so many people, not just the club, but faces Tyler recognized from the Coldwater Project. Kids he'd helped, families he'd connected with resources, social workers he'd partnered with. Surprise, Luna shouted as Tyler walked through the door. I knew about the party, Tyler reminded her. Doesn't mean you can't be surprised by how amazing I made it. Tyler looked around. She was right. It was amazing. Thank you, he said. I don't know what to say. Say you'll give a speech later. Everyone wants to hear from the man of the hour. I'm not good at speeches. Tough. You're giving one anyway. Luna shoved a drink into his hand. Now go mingle. You've got a lot of people waiting to see you. Tyler mingled. He talked to Marcus, the first kid the Coldwater Project had helped. Marcus was 17 now, still in the group home but thriving. Good grades, a part-time job, dreams of becoming a social worker himself. You changed my life, Marcus told him. You know that, right? You changed your own life. I just pointed you in the right direction. Don't do that. Marcus's expression was serious. Don't minimize what you did. I was ready to give up, ready to disappear, and then you showed up and told me I mattered. He paused. You were the first person who ever said that to me. Tyler didn't know how to respond. Just accept the thank you, Marcus said, and keep doing what you're doing. There are more kids out there who need someone like you. I know, I won't stop. Good. They hugged. Quick, awkward, perfect. Tyler moved on. He talked to Mrs. Patterson Margaret, who had become an unlikely ally. She'd donated money to the Coldwater Project, volunteered her time, found purpose in helping others after losing her husband. Gerald would have loved this, she told Tyler, gesturing at the celebration. All these people coming together for something good. I wish I could have met him. You did meet him. In a way, Margaret touched Tyler's cheek. You carried his memory into that courtroom. You fought for justice when no one else would. That's how you honor the dead Tyler, by fighting for the living. Tyler's throat tightened. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, sweetheart, for everything. She walked away, leaving Tyler standing alone in the middle of the crowd, but not really alone, never alone anymore. The speech came at 8 o'clock. Luna literally pushed Tyler onto a small stage that had been set up at one end of the hall. A microphone waited. 100 faces looked up at him. Tyler's hands were shaking. I'm not good at this, he said into the microphone. Laughter, supportive, warm. A year ago, I was living under a bridge. I had no food, no money, no hope. I thought I was invisible. I thought I was worthless. I thought nobody in the world cared whether I lived or died. The room went quiet. Then a man fell from the sky. Tyler looked at Gunnar standing in the front row. I didn't know who he was, didn't know anything about the Hells Angels or motorcycle clubs or any of it. All I knew was that someone was drowning, and I could try to help. He took a breath. I almost didn't. Almost told myself it wasn't my problem. Almost stayed safe on the shore while a stranger died. He paused. But my mother, she raised me to believe that every life matters, even the lives of people who can't give you anything in return. So I jumped into freezing water, into the unknown, into everything that came after. Tyler's voice steadied. That jump changed my life. Not because I saved someone, but because someone saved me back. Gunnar, Luna, Wrench, Viper, everyone in this room who took a homeless kid with nothing and told him he was family. He looked around at the faces watching him. The Coldwater Project exists because I know what it feels like to be invisible, to be forgotten, to stand on a bridge at 3 in the morning and think about letting the river take you. He paused. But I also know what it feels like to be seen, to be loved, to be told that you matter. That's what we do. We see people. We love people. We tell them they matter and then we prove it. Tyler lifted his glass. To family, the one you're born with and the one you choose. To second chances and new beginnings. And to every invisible kid out there who's waiting for someone to notice them. He looked directly at Gunnar. We see you. We're coming. Just hold on one more day. The room erupted in applause. Tyler stepped off the stage, hands still shaking. Gunnar caught him before he could disappear into the crowd. That was perfect. I almost threw up. Still perfect. Gunnar grinned. Your mom would have been proud. You think so? I know so. Tyler let himself be pulled into another hug. He was getting used to those. The party continued until midnight. By 1 in the morning, only the core club members remained. Tyler, Gunnar, Luna, Wrench, Snake, Viper, and a few others. Sitting around the bar, tired and happy, the kind of exhausted that only comes from celebrating something that matters. Hell of a year, Snake said, raising his beer. Hell of a year, everyone echoed. You know what I keep thinking about, Luna said. That night at the bridge, when we first found Tyler. He was half dead from hypothermia, couldn't even talk, and the first thing he said when he woke up was asking if Bear was okay. I don't remember that, Tyler said. You were delirious, but I remember. Luna's expression softened. That's when I knew you were one of us, not because of what you did, but because of who you are. Someone who asks about others before himself, Wrench added. That's rare, kid. Rarer than you know. Tyler didn't know what to say. Viper spoke up. There's one more piece of business tonight. Everyone turned to look at him. Tyler's been a prospect for 8 months. In that time, he's proven himself more than anyone I've ever seen. Rebuilt our clubhouse with his own hands. Started a program that's helped over 50 kids. Testified in court against corrupt cops who wanted him dead. Viper stood. It's time to make it official. Tyler's heart stopped. You're not serious. Dead serious. Viper walked to the bar, picked up a leather vest that had been hidden behind the counter. Tyler Walsh, on behalf of the Riverside chapter of the Hells Angels, I'm offering you full membership. The vote was unanimous. He held out the vest. Tyler stared at it. The prospect patch was gone. In its place was the full member patch. The Death's Head, the California Rocker. I can't. You can. Gunner's voice was thick with emotion. You've earned it, Tyler. Every patch in this room agrees. Tyler looked around, at Luna wiping tears from her eyes, at Wrench nodding slowly, at Snake raising his beer in salute, at every face that had become family over the past year. His hands were shaking as he took the vest. I don't have words. Don't need words, Viper said. Just put it on. Tyler put it on. The leather settled onto his shoulders like it had been waiting for him his whole life. Cheers erupted. Hugs. Backslaps. Someone opened champagne, probably Luna. She was always prepared. Gunner was the last to reach him. How does it feel? Like I finally know who I am. Tyler's voice cracked. Like I finally belong somewhere. You always belonged. We just had to catch up. Gunner gripped his shoulders. I'm proud of you, son. Son. The word hit Tyler like a freight train. You called me son. Yeah, I did. Gunner's eyes were bright. Because that's what you are. Not just to me, to everyone here. Tyler couldn't speak. Gunner pulled him close. Welcome to the family, Tyler Walsh. For real this time. The weeks that followed were the best of Tyler's life. He threw himself into the Cold Water Project with renewed energy. The program had grown beyond anything he had imagined. A proper office now, staff, funding from donors who believed in the mission. 50 kids helped in the first year. The goal for year 2 was 200. You're going to burn out, Luna warned him one afternoon. I'm fine. You're working 16-hour days. There's so much to do. And it'll still be there tomorrow. Luna blocked his path to the door. When's the last time you ate? Tyler thought about it. Breakfast. It's 7 p.m. Oh. Yeah, oh. Luna grabbed his arm. Come on, Mama Rose made dinner. You're eating and then you're sleeping for at least 8 hours. But non-negotiable. Tyler let himself be dragged to the dining hall. He ate. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans, real food, not the gas station garbage he'd survived on for years. Better, Luna asked. Much. Good. Now tell me what's really going on. Tyler set down his fork. What do you mean? I mean, you've been working yourself to death since the anniversary party. Running from something or running towards something. Luna studied him. Which is it? Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Both, I think. Explain. I keep waiting for it to fall apart. For someone to realize they made a mistake. For Gunner to wake up one day and decide he doesn't want me anymore. Tyler. I know it's irrational, I know, but the fear doesn't care about logic. His voice dropped. My whole life, everyone I loved either died or left. My mom, my foster families, everyone. We're not leaving. You say that, but we're not leaving. Luna's voice was fierce. You want to know why? Because we chose you. Not because we had to. Not because we were assigned to you. Because we looked at you and saw someone worth fighting for. Tyler's eyes burned. I don't know how to believe that. Then let us prove it day after day, year after year, until that fear finally shuts up. Luna squeezed his hand. You're stuck with us, Tyler Walsh. Get used to it. Tyler laughed weakly. Okay. Okay, I'll try to believe you. Good. Now finish your dinner. Gunner's planning something for tomorrow, and he'll kill me if I spoil the surprise. What surprise? Did you not hear the word surprise? I'm not telling you. Tyler finished his dinner, curiosity burning. The surprise was a motorcycle. Not just any motorcycle. A fully restored 1998 Harley-Davidson, gleaming black and chrome, rebuilt from the ground up. Wrench and I have been working on it for months, Gunner said, grinning at Tyler's stunned expression. Remember that first bike you fixed in the garage? The one with the shot carburetor? Tyler stared. This is the same bike. Same frame. Everything else is new. Or restored. Gunner held out the keys. It's yours. I can't. This is too much. It's exactly enough. Gunner pressed the keys into Tyler's palm. Every member needs their own ride. Now you've got one. Tyler's hands were shaking. I don't know how to thank you. Ride it. That's thanks enough. Tyler climbed onto the bike. The leather seat fit him perfectly. The handlebars felt like they'd been made for his grip. He turned the key. The engine roared to life. And for the first time in his life, Tyler Walsh felt completely free. They rode together that afternoon. Tyler and Gunnar side by side through the streets of Riverside and out into the open desert. No destination, no schedule, just the road and the wind and the rumble of engines. Tyler understood now why the club loved riding so much. It wasn't about speed or danger. It was about freedom, about leaving your problems behind, even if just for a few hours. They stopped at a lookout point as the sun began to set. "Can I ask you something?" Tyler said. "Anything?" "That night, when you crashed, why were you out so late? Why were you on that road?" Gunnar was quiet for a long moment. "I was running," he said finally, "from myself, from my life, from everything." "What do you mean?" "I'd been with the club for 20 years, done things I'm not proud of, hurt people, made enemies." Gunnar stared at the horizon. "That night I'd gotten news that an old friend had died. Overdose. We'd been close back in the day, and his death made me realize how empty my life had become." Tyler listened silently. "I didn't have family, didn't have anyone who really knew me. Just the club and the road and a lot of regrets." Gunnar's voice cracked. "I got on my bike that night not knowing if I wanted to live or die. And then the rain came, and the guardrail gave way, and I was falling. You almost died. I did die for a few seconds before you brought me back." Gunnar turned to look at Tyler. "And when I woke up, everything was different, because you were there." Tyler didn't know what to say. "You didn't just save my life, Tyler. You gave me a reason to keep living. A purpose, a son." Gunnar's eyes were wet. "I spent 45 years feeling alone, and then you showed up, a skinny, half-drowned kid with nothing but courage and heart, and everything changed. I was just trying to help." "I know. That's what makes you special." Gunnar gripped Tyler's shoulder. "You help because it's right. Not because of what you might get, not because someone's watching, just because it's the right thing to do." "My mom taught me that." "She taught you well." Gunnar smiled. "And I'm going to spend the rest of my life being grateful that she did." They watched the sun sink below the horizon. Father and son, two broken people who'd somehow made each other whole. "Gunnar, yeah, I love you." "I love you too, kid." Gunnar's voice was rough, more than anything. They sat in comfortable silence as the stars began to emerge. No more running, no more hiding, just peace. The 2-year anniversary came faster than Tyler expected. The Cold Water Project had helped 217 kids. They'd partnered with 3 other organizations, opened a second location downtown, hired a full staff of social workers and counselors. Tyler stood at the podium looking out at a crowd of 500 people. "2 years ago, I was invisible," he said. "Today, I'm standing in front of 500 people who believe that every life matters. Every life has value. Every life deserves a chance." He paused, looking at Gunnar in the front row. "I used to think that heroes were people with superpowers, people who could fly or lift cars or shoot lasers from their eyes." Tyler smiled. "I was wrong. Heroes are ordinary people who make a choice. The choice to help when it would be easier to walk away. The choice to speak up when it would be safer to stay silent. The choice to dive into freezing water for a stranger who might not survive. Every person in this room is a hero. You chose to be here. You chose to care. You chose to believe that one person can make a difference." Tyler lifted his glass. "To the heroes, the seen and the unseen, the living and the dead, the ones who never gave up and the ones who are still holding on." He looked directly at the crowd. "If you're out there tonight, cold hungry, invisible, I want you to know something. We see you. We're coming, and we will never stop fighting for you." Applause thundered through the room. Tyler stepped off the stage and walked straight into Gunnar's arms. "Proud of you," Gunnar whispered. "Couldn't have done it without you." "Yeah, you could have, but I'm glad you didn't have to." They held each other as the celebration continued around them. Later that night, Tyler stood alone at the Coldwater Bridge. The river flowed quietly below, the same water that had almost killed him, the same water that had changed everything. He pulled something from his pocket, a watch, his mother's watch, the one he'd lost that terrible night when Morrison had kicked his backpack into the river. Except it wasn't lost anymore. Luna had found it 6 months ago, tangled in debris downstream. Wrench had restored it, made it work again for the first time in years. Tyler opened the back. His mother's picture looked up at him, faded, water damaged, but still there. "I made it, Mom," he whispered. "I held on, just like you told me." The wind carried his words away. "I found a family, real people who love me, who fight for me, who see me." He touched her face in the photograph. "I'm helping kids now, kids like me, kids who are invisible and alone and scared. I'm showing them that they matter, that someone cares." Tears ran down his face. "I miss you, every single day, but I'm okay now, really okay for the first time since you left." He closed the watch. "I love you, Mom, and I'm going to keep making you proud, one day at a time, one kid at a time, one life at a time." Footsteps behind him. Gunnar appeared at his side. "You okay?" "Yeah." Tyler wiped his eyes. "Just saying goodbye and hello." "Goodbye to what?" "To who I used to be, the scared kid who stood on this bridge and thought about letting go." "And hello," Tyler looked at Gunnar, "to who I am now, a son, a brother, a member of something bigger than myself." He paused. "Someone who matters." Gunnar put his arm around Tyler's shoulders. "You always mattered, kid. The world just took too long to notice." They stood together looking down at the river, the water that had almost taken everything, the water that had given everything instead. "Ready to go home?" Gunnar asked. "Yeah," Tyler smiled. "I'm ready." When they walked back to their motorcycles, side by side, father and son, family, the engines roared to life. They rode away from the bridge toward the clubhouse, toward the future. Behind them, the river flowed on, silent, patient, indifferent to the miracle it had witnessed. But Tyler knew he would never forget. Some debts can never be fully repaid, but they can be honored, day by day, choice by choice, life by life. Tyler Walsh had been invisible. Now he was seen. He had been worthless. Now he mattered. He had been alone. Now he was home. And nothing, not corrupt cops, not burning buildings, not the weight of his past, would ever take that away from him. This was his life. This was his family. This was his legacy, and it was only the beginning.